In order to prevent an infection, you have to find a way of tickling the immune system to produce the antibody itself when infected. So the body knows, I've got this virus, I've just been infected, now I have to go and produce a lot of antibodies to counter my infection.
Michael Rossman and Richard Kuhn are two scientists here at Purdue University researching EV71, and they may have just found an antibody to cure the virus.
So EV71 causes a disease that's called hand and foot disease, in which you have blisters, and it's usually small children who get this. The funny thing is that there's two viruses that cause a very similar type disease, and they cannot be readily distinguished by just looking at the symptoms themselves.
One of these viruses is curable, whereas EV71 can enter the central nervous system and cause severe neurological problems and even death. For the past 4 years, a team of researchers have been studying the structure of the virus and growing the virus cells under controlled conditions to understand what it looks like and how it works.
I like to open the hood under the hood of the virus and see what's inside and see how it works and relate it to the actual function of what kind of cells the virus infects, how it gets into the cell, how it reproduces itself in a cell, how it assembles to make new and more viruses, how it gets out of the infected cell, and how it infects the next person.
They can analyze the virus EV71 by using an X-ray closography, which is a tool that turns the virus into crystals like table salt or sugar. The crystals can then be put under a very intense X-ray beam where the structure of the virus shows up as millions of little spots. The researchers collect and evaluate these spots in order to understand how the virus operates.
We have found the structure of the virus in 3 dimensions, the arrangement of atoms. Of course, we now have to interpret what that means, what these atoms tell us. That structure then does tell us something about how the virus works.
Once the researchers understand the structure and function of the virus, they can then begin to create a solution and figure out how to prevent the virus from functioning.
So we found some new mechanisms by which an antibody can bind to the virus and render it inactive. We call it neutralization.
If people could produce such antibodies in their body, then they would be immune to the virus. So the question is then, how can we challenge a person's immune system to produce antibodies of this kind?
The researchers are hopeful that the antibodies that have been found to neutralize EV71 will help to control the virus and develop into a vaccine, as well as an antiviral prevention of the virus.
Hopefully it means that the virus is going to be controlled in the next few years. There's still a lot more that has to be done to really understand all of the detailed mechanisms about this, but certainly the objective on all of this stuff is to figure out how does the virus work and how can we interrupt that process and how can we do it in the most effective way.
Reporting for Fast Track, I'm Alexandra Johnson.